Hello and welcome to episode 81 of the Low Back Pain Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Grant Elliott with RehabFix online low back program. Today's topic is, should you squat butt to grass all the way to the floor as deep as you can? Or is this bad for low back issues or your longevity? Let's get into it. If you missed episode 80, it was a good one. I filmed a response to the Robert Oberst interview with Joe Rogan where he mentioned that you should stop doing deadlifts. And as many of you know, I'm a big deadlift fan. So I dissected that interview and I gave my response. And I think it shines some pretty good light on what might have been missing in that conversation. So if you're interested in hearing that, please go do so. If you are not a part of our private Facebook group where you can interact with me and my team one-on-one, and you can get our sciatica guide to learn how to resolve your sciatica, how to put a plan in place, how to get back pain free, and how to learn more and just be involved with a community of people who are invested in their health, then you need to go join our private Facebook group, RehabFix Low Back Program. Today's topic, squatting butt to grass. Okay, this is going to be pretty short and sweet because I'm just going to simplify it a whole bunch. A lot of people say don't squat butt to grass because you'll get the butt wink. The butt wink is basically when you go to the point where you see your butt start to dip under you. So you might stay straight or even arched as you descend. And then when you get to the very bottom, you start to round in your tailbone and you kind of whoop and tuck that tailbone under you at the bottommost portion. And some people say that and they say, oh my gosh, rounding of the lower back, terrible, don't do that. You're going to destroy yourself. Stop that right now. Other people say, hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. No big deal. I'm going to give you a slice down the middle, which is typically where I lie. And I'll provide some context for different situations. So generally speaking, is a butt wink bad? No. It is hard to claim that a butt wink is bad because it's hard to claim that any movement is bad unless the right context is applied. Example, for a ton of our clients with sciatica, the very first recommendations we make for them are to stop stretching their hamstrings. You might think, what? Hamstrings are tight all the time. It's a symptom of the disc and of the nerve, and it typically makes it worse. But am I saying that hamstring stretches are bad? Certainly not. There's tons of people out there without any lower back or disc or sciatica issues that are totally fine to stretch their hamstrings. You see what I mean? No movement is inherently bad. You just have to apply it to the particular person. So for the general population, is a butt wink bad? Not necessarily. You can't really make that claim unless you understand what that person is dealing with, if they're dealing with anything at all. So general population, can we say butt wink is bad? Not really. Now let's add some context. Let's say someone has a flexion tolerant lower back issue, like all of our clients do. These are the type of lower back issues where the longer you sit, the more you feel it. Bending over to put on your socks and shoes in the morning is extra sensitive. And we've been sitting for a long period and you go to stand up, it's really tight to stand up straight. These are flexion intolerant lower back issues, typically disc involved and nerve involved. For these types of individuals, typically flexion or repetitive loaded flexion does not feel great. What is a butt wink? A butt wink is loaded flexion. So it might not be a good idea for these particular individuals. You see what I'm saying? We can't say it's bad, but we have to apply it to particular scenarios. And for the scenarios of most of our clients, at least when they're starting, butt wink would not be a good idea. But when they're graduating our program and they can move however they want to without problem, I don't really care what they do. They can do whatever they want. For me personally, what do I do when I was squatting consistently? I was pretty much just going to the point where I would stop right before the wink. Because for me personally, it wasn't injuring me or anything like that, but I would just notice that my low back would get a little bit more pumped when I would squat low enough to have the butt wink. It wasn't injuring me, it wasn't harming me, but my lower back would get just a little bit more pumped and it would make the rest of the exercises just not feel quite as smooth. I couldn't focus on them quite as much. So I voluntarily chose to stop below that point. Also, because my ankle mobility is not very good. If my ankle mobility was better, then I wouldn't wink as much. But my ankle mobility is not very good, so I wink somewhat excessively. So it's not really ideal for me personally. But once again, going to the other side of the fence, let's look at pretty much anybody in the Olympics, in Olympic weightlifting, okay? all of them are pretty much winking because they're catching those cleans, right? Those clean and jerks. They're catching those cleans at the very bottom. They're winking, right? They're getting super low when they do this. It's almost impossible not to. Some of them have freakish mobility, don't get me wrong, but it's almost impossible to not wink a little bit. Are they getting injured left and right? No, they're fine. Their bodies are adapted to it, right? Nothing to fear. They can handle that just fine. All right. Now, of course, once again, I'm referencing a very, very unique percentage of the population who are absolute freaks, who are genetic anomalies, and maybe their back and everything can just handle it because they're just made of steel. That could be an argument, right? But you get the idea. Not inherently bad. Depends on the person, depends on the context, depends on what you feel. All right. For my particular audience, for those of you who are listening to me, most of you are struggling with lower back issues. Most of you want to understand how to prevent lower back issues. So what would be my recommendation for you? Okay. My recommendation for you would probably be the recommendation I have for myself, which is if you are currently not struggling with a lower back issue and you feel fine squatting with a butt wink, there's nothing to worry about. You don't have to worry about it. If you don't feel fine, if you have some low back issues, if you have some low back tension, if you have a flexion intolerant lower back or disc issue like I described earlier, those three main signs, then you might not want to allow yourself to do it right now. I'm not going to say forever. I don't say forever about anything, but you might not want to do it right now. You might want to cut yourself short just so that you're not going into a range that's going to pick the scab or flare you up or trigger you. Picking the scab meaning re-aggravating something that otherwise is trying to heal. Okay? That might be the call that you want to make for this period of time. Additionally, if you want to keep squatting heavy and you're finding that back squats is just kind of tough to do in general, try front squatting. Try goblet squatting. Try hack squatting. These are variations that you can utilize to continue to squat heavy and to feel good doing so. If for this time period, a back squat or a low squat is just a little bit too much for you to handle. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. However, what you'll find yourself doing if you're just avoiding back squats and just doing something else is you're doing just that. You're just avoiding things. Avoiding things is not a solution. I say this all the time. Avoiding things is not a solution. You can't just say, oh, back squats have been hurting for a year or two. I'm just going to avoid those for the next 2 months and then see if I'm better. Not a solution. Absolutely not a solution. You need to figure out what the issue is so then you can get back to doing that very activity without a problem. You want to know that you actually corrected the issue so you can get back to doing that activity with no worry. If you're just waiting for your body to calm down and then going right back to it, it's the same thing as running with a rock in your shoe, expecting your foot to feel better if you just take a few days off, but you don't remove the rock from your shoe. You get what I'm saying? You have a rock in your shoe, you're walking around your house, you're not taking that many steps, it's not enough to really bother you, but then you go for a 10-mile run. Now your foot kills. Oh my gosh, my foot kills. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to rest for a few days. I'm not going to walk around very much. The rock is still in your shoe. You're not taking it out. You're just letting your foot calm down. Hey, you know what? My foot's calmed down. I feel okay. I must be better. I'm going to go for another run. You go for another 10-mile run. Oh, you're flared up. The rock is still in your shoe. Get the rock out of your shoe. Address the root of the issue. Figure it out. Get a plan. Talk to an expert. Accept guidance. Don't try to do this on your own. If you don't know how to get the rock out of your shoe, you're just continuing to flare this up on this merry-go-round where you feel better, and then you flare up. You feel better and you flare up. You feel better and you flare up. Get off the merry-go-round. Let's get this over with. Talk to someone who takes this as serious as you do. If you're serious about getting results and you're serious about feeling better, then work with someone like us who is just as invested as you are, who takes it just as seriously as you do, who does what they say they're going to do, and who's committed to a solution. All right? Let me help you. So this is my summary on low squats or butt to grass squats so that you can apply this information to your particular situation and you can make the most educated decision for yourself. Because remember, we are here to learn what we can do for ourselves. We're here to become empowered with tools, empowered with knowledge so that you can achieve long-term results. Having things just passively done to you will never be a long-term solution. The soft tissue work, the adjustments, the injections, the surgery, they will almost never be a long-term solution. You need to figure out what you're not doing in your situation and what you're not doing to get that rock out of your shoe. Let's help you do that. And if you are interested in my help, not interested, I hate that word, to be honest. Oh, I'm interested in finding a solution. Are you going to do it or are you not? It's one of the two. You can't just be interested. Do you want to be pain-free or do you not? If you want to be pain-free and you're listening to this, then submit an application on my website. Get in touch with us. Join our Facebook page, RehabFix Low Back Program. Get involved. Let us know that you're ready to do something about your situation and you're committed to getting out of it. If you show that commitment, if you show that readiness, we're going to give it right back to you. And we're going to get you exactly where you want to be as quickly as possible and show you exactly the step-by-step plan on how you're going to do it every single week moving towards the ultimate goal. And we love seeing people reach their goals. We love seeing people make this commitment in themselves. We love seeing people change their lives. How much is that worth to you? Ask yourself that question and then do what you know you need to do. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, please leave a 5-star rating and review. As always, move more, move in nature, move in the sun. Thank you so much for listening and have a great day.